I think that this crane's probably quite lonely. It's Sunday afternoon in Glasgow and I've decided to go for a walk. I've been feeling lonely the last few days, or rather, I don't really know how I've been feeling. Lonely, alone, not really sure. Decided to go for a walk, see if there's anything out here that stimulates some kind of serendipitous analysis. I've already got an idea, but we're going to go for a walk down this way first, cross the river, and then head back round to the Finnieston crane, which is just opposite my flat. What I realised is that an awful lot of the time, loneliness isn't really about a lack of people. And people say that. It's been said. You got to be good with yourself. What I was thinking was, why do we find it hard to be on our own? What I learned from my therapy is that we can only be alone with ourselves if we've first spent a lot of time with somebody when we're very, very young. We don't have the ability to be alone when we're tiny, because we'll die. So what I felt this weekend, maybe you can relate, is that I've been working all week and I've been really looking forward to my time off. Been really looking forward to it so that I could get on with this and various other things I want to do. And I wake up on my first day off and I feel rubbish. And I've suddenly got 4 days in front of me, which I can do whatever I want. And I have no responsibilities to anybody but myself. And I feel rubbish. I wake up and I feel rubbish. I feel empty. I feel a little bit dead. And I do all the things that you're supposed to do. I go for a run, go to the gym, eat a good breakfast. But I can't really shake that feeling. And even again this morning. And I think there is a part of me deep down underneath everything else, and it's a core element which just can't cope with aloneness. And I went and had an acting class on Friday with an old friend. I spent 2 hours in a studio with him, doing amazing stuff together. So I don't lack people. I don't lack human contact. It's not that there aren't people out there. I'm not isolated. It's just that actually when it gets to the point when it's time for me to step forward into my life, not doing a job for somebody else, but actually my thing, making this video, for example, or various other projects, I hit a bit of a wall, because suddenly I have to show up and be confident and sure of myself. And this is tiny little part deep down buried underneath, and it's a core element, like I said, that doesn't feel confident and sure. And I think that part was just alone when I was very young, just alone, nobody around. I mean, there were people around, but again, they weren't really with me. They were wrapped up in their own stuff. This is it's never about blaming other people. I don't blame my parents. But they were just wrapped up in their own heads, and they weren't really able themselves to be with people. Because this is the other thing. You can't be with somebody else if you don't know how to be with yourself. And you can't be with yourself because someone else didn't know how to be with you, and back it goes. And it gets passed on by generation to generation. And it's nobody's fault. You know, I've struggled to be with people my whole life. By be with them, I mean be present with them, actually listen to what they have to say and relate to them as people rather than objects, which is the narcissistic way in which we relate to people, that they're just things in the world out there that we can we take things from. And what I've noticed with myself today, for example, it's not even a loneliness. It manifests as a kind of emptiness, a kind of hollowness, and I feel it right here in my chest. It's so easy to try and you run away from it. So I go and, I don't know, I watch a YouTube video, or I eat, or I watch a movie, or I work on a project but don't really do anything, and I'm just trying to slip around that, take a cold shower, all these different things, but they're all management techniques, and we're taught to try and how to manage your feelings, coping strategies. That's the word at the moment that people use. I'd like some coping strategies. You go to therapy not to heal, but just to learn how to manage your pain, and you can't manage it. It's not manageable. It's only experienceable. You can only experience it. Everything you do to manage it pushes it away and makes it come back later. I think you just got to sit with it. Be with yourself, which is tough. It's really hard to be with yourself if you don't know how to be with yourself. I think fundamentally the bottom line, I think underneath this is if you really experience this, you can relate to what I'm saying, you need to go find somebody who you can be with yourself, a therapist, someone who can sit with you and be with you, so that you can absorb that sense of beingness with somebody else. If you feel kind of like borderline anxiety, if it's always there at the background, it almost certainly stems back to the fact that at a certain point you were living in the presence of people that weren't with you. You wouldn't understand what was going on when you're 3 or 2. It would just manifest itself as an anxiety, because if they're not with you, they might leave and you might die. Obviously, when you're 3, if your parents were to just walk out the door and never come back, you would be really, really stuck. You can't feed yourself, you don't know what to do. And that's where that anxiety comes from. Well, it's the start of it anyway. And in the end, there's no perfect relationships. There's no perfect situation. There is no perfect utopian wellness where all your pain goes away and everything's fine. Life is painful. All you can really do is find a way to rise above that. Yeah. It's not possible to get a sense of just how large this crane is unless you're standing down here on the quayside. It's absolutely huge and kind of beautiful, even if it's not the most aesthetic thing. I think it's really, I'm fascinated by old bits of history like this, old buildings, old objects, old machines. This crane once had a lifting weight of 175 tons. That's 25 elephants. And its main job when it was built in the 30s was to lift steam engines off the tracks just on the quayside there and load them onto ships, most likely built here in Glasgow as well, and then delivered around the world. There's something kind of lonely about it as well, though. It's left over from another age, useless now, doesn't do anything, just standing there. I think what it makes me think more than anything else is that when you become solidly you, when you inhabit your skin, when you are 100% who you are, then you're not alone. Even if everything around you changes, you're still you. This crane is still this crane, despite everything else around it disappearing. Everything's gone. It doesn't have a job anymore, but it's still exactly what it always was. And that's really the point. I think that's what I'm getting at, actually. Once you are comfortable with yourself, once your identity is secure and you know who you are, you're not alone anymore. You might find yourself without people for a while, but that will be fine. You know there will be people further on down the line, and you'll be fine with yourself. You won't feel that ache inside you. Because I think that ache really isn't about a lack of people. It's about a disconnect with yourself. It's about a loss of connection with yourself. Find that connection, build that connection, and you'll be as solid as a rock.